Holy crap. This is really one of those times I actually want to talk about why progressives being very performative and self-serving. We don't always practice what we're preaching, especially in our advocacy for people of color and things that don't really affect us directly. Leftism is rather just theory to discuss on Twitter and get a pat on the back for, but when there's something we can do to actively make a difference, we don't do it unless it benefits us somehow. You see it pretty often and I've been tempted to talk about it, but at most I've maybe mentioned it or hinted at it because I feel like it would be, I don't know, very cringe for me to actually talk about it. I don't know. If you haven't noticed already, I'm white. Yo.
My husband is Walter White. Yo. Uh-huh. He told me everything.
Seriously?
That's right.
But yeah, I'm very white and I feel like it would be very difficult to talk about this at length without coming off as very self-congratulatory, like, those white people, am I right? I would never do that. I'm not like other white people. I'm a good white people. Please tell me how good I am for doing the bare minimum. Yeah. It's very annoying, I can imagine, and I don't want to be blinded by my own whiteness. But at the risk of sounding like I have my head so far up my own ass I can hear my farts echoing in my colon, I just need to desperately talk about Anna Mardoll, who decided to show his ass on Twitter again late October this year. And the cherry on top? Mwah. He came back specifically to ask for money donations for his partner's, kiss mates, surgery. People do this all the time though. There's unexpected expenses, and what we cannot afford, there might be a kind stranger online with disposable income willing to help out.
I am so tired of being told that I'm wrong about something that I know I'm right about. The existence of pay pigs.
I'm by no means against crowdfunding. We live in a society.
Why so serious?
After all, and some of us have gotten the short end of the stick. To understand why people are so upset with Anna specifically, you need to know about the initial controversy that went down in late July and early August. If you want to watch a video covering it when it initially happened, I suggest you go watch Book Community, Anna Mardoll and Book Twitter by Jess Owens. That's what I watched last night to freshen up my memory a little bit. But to give you a brief summary, Anna is a disabled, non-binary trans dude on Twitter. I know plenty of those, and according to his Patreon, his friends tell him he's absolutely adorable. So pull up a chair if you like the sound of any of that. I light a fire in the hearth, bring you a blanket and a lap cat, and pour you a warm beverage of your choice. Sorry, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that condescending tone was about. I've got a cold and it was definitely not on purpose. Sorry, there's actually not inherently anything wrong with that sentence. It's just funny seeing the contrast between the internet persona he so carefully crafted versus the real guy behind the screen that we now know. As you can tell, Anna is a soft-spoken storyteller and known for his rants on Twitter. A lot of it is now deleted, and quite frankly, I'm not super interested in going back to get the nitty-gritty details. According to those who used to follow him, it was no secret that he had very strong morals and wasn't scared to call anyone out for transphobia, sexism, homophobia, racism, ableism, and anything within the realm of progressive activism. This is all good, this is all great actually, it's important to talk about all of these things. However, come to find out, not everyone is willing to put their money where their mouth is. It's nice to speak out about all of these social issues, it makes you feel important, it feels good to take the moral high ground, but your pretty words count for absolute fucking shit when your action goes against everything you supposedly stood for. When will you learn that your actions have consequences? And we're not really talking about a little bit of hypocrisy, like everyone's a little bit hypocritical every now and then, like you can be a little hypocritical as a treat. But this was like a shitload, like this. The reality of Anna's financial status versus how he portrayed it is only one aspect of this whole situation that left his followers with a feeling of having been deceived and preyed upon.
And I guess at times has been like saying they need money because they have a mental illness, have a physical disability, is trying to transition, like all of these different things, and people felt like a kinship, a connection, felt really connected to Anna and wanted to help even if they barely had anything at all, and yet they're working for this billion-dollar corporation and asking regular poor people for money.
A lot of fellow disabled and trans people are living from paycheck to paycheck, constantly on the brink of homelessness, but still very willing to give up what little they have to help out a fellow human, knowing what it's like. According to many tweets, it seems like Anna was not really a stranger to crowdfunding. Nevertheless, judging by tweets in the aftermath, people seem to have been under the impression that Anna was a fellow struggling disabled trans guy who's been disowned by his parents. I swear that part will be relevant in a bit. A lot of them thought his only source of income was through his work online and was more willing to support him. Now, I checked his Patreon today, or rather last night when I was actually scripting this. 2 months since the initial incident when people found out that he wasn't really the person he was portraying himself to be, and he has 582 supporters, which means he would make anything between 1,322 to 15,863 US dollars per month. And mind you, that's just through Patreon alone. I'm not saying this should cover all of his expenses, and he has absolutely no reason to crowdfund. I know living in America is pretty expensive, and considering he's disabled, yeah.
Give me $200.
No, I don't think so.
I just wanted to put it out there because it's by no means a negligible amount, especially considering he has an actual job in real life he never really disclosed. And I get why you wouldn't want all of your business out there, especially as a trans person, but I can think of another reason why he wouldn't want to disclose his place of employment. When it first came out that Anna had been a part-time worker, he did address it in a thread of tweets, stating, "I've been made aware that someone is trying to dox me and at everyone I know in the process, so I might as well address some things here. I'm sorry I have to do this. I work at a large corporation, which I would not name. I work in software licensing, procuring text editors and code compilers for others. This is why I know so much about Creative Commons. In parentheses, for those that enjoy that thread, I do not produce code for anything. I got this particular job because my family works for the same corporation. I stay because I'm on an unusual part-time arrangement for medical reasons. It's hard to find a remote work from home job that will give me medical insurance but let me work 10 to 20 hours a week." And Brendan Saturka, I don't know how that's pronounced, I'm sorry, responded to a screenshot of those tweets saying, "Hey, question, why won't you name Lockheed Martin? Is it because it's one of the largest defense contractors that provided arms to Israel and played a role in American imperial reaches in both Iraq and Afghanistan? In parentheses, $75 billion in Pentagon contacts in 2020 alone. Of course you'll be defended because white queers and their complicity in acts of war will be excused as, well, people have to work. Like, I do not care if you don't directly work on software related to missiles, arms, or military planes, in parentheses unlikely, but to be legacy hired onto this kind of company is extremely fascinating, 𝗲𝗲𝗏. To be clear, I am a stupid Swede, so there might be context I'm missing out on, so don't take my word for it, but it is indeed extremely fascinating.
America, explain! Explain! What do you mean?
Anti-imperialism.
There's so much to unpack here. I understand that we all need to work to survive in this world and this climate, and we might not always agree with our place of employment. Most of the people I know absolutely hate the company they work for. Still, it's their only option. It's either that or die. But there's a massive difference between working for, let's say, Amazon and the second biggest defense contractor in the world, I hate to pass judgment, especially when I don't know all the details. That is kind of a lie, because I'm the most judgmental person I know. But I find it very difficult to imagine that Anna worked at Lockheed Martin for 15 years and at no point found another position somewhere else. Yes, you heard that right. 15 years. Because as it turns out, Anna is like 40, which is another thing that struck a chord with people. Yet again, they were under the false impression that Anna was young and maybe in his 20s, based on how he presents himself and his insistence on being called a boy. I don't have a particularly strong opinion on this, and I don't necessarily find it malicious. I just think it's interesting how it plays a part in the curation of his online persona, because people are going to be more forgiving of a young and innocent boy who didn't know any better. He didn't know that he was working for a murder company, than a grown 40-year-old man who's been working there for over 15 years. Like, you know what you're doing.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, we all do this to an extent. We all make ourselves seem more presentable, so I don't know, I don't want to read too much into it. I just think it's interesting, okay? And I guess that's what people took issue with. If it didn't present himself as this person that cares about social justice and anti-imperialism, being this beacon of morality, I don't think half as many would actually really care. But since that's been his entire brand, it's kind of like, really? Really? This was your only option, huh? Do you even care in the first place, or do you just like acting morally superior to others and playing the victim of everyone? Please, I'm just a poor little trans boy. I'm just a boy. I'm just a little uvu bean.
Your fantasies can't ever be quenched, can they?
I'm sorry, the concept of some white trans guy going on Twitter making a thread about how a book is problematic only to return to his job assisting the literal murder of people overseas is just so funny. Funny in a very bad way. It's funny like, holy shit, is this real? Now that's a certified Twitter moment, am I right? That is the epitome of performative activism, like...
This is a nightmare!
And don't come back at me with the capitalism and we all trying to survive. Yeah, they're surviving and there's being a fucking selfish dickhead. Then there's also the nepotism, which left a bad taste in people's mouth, because if he got his job at Genocide Incorporated through his family, then their relationship can't be that bad. Or that's what some people would like to think. At the same time, as I don't know what he has said exactly to make people think he's been disowned, I will say that family relations can be very, very complicated, and just because someone assisted him in getting work doesn't mean that they're on good terms. I mean, I would know family on my dad's side is very dysfunctional, and my dad fucking hates me, so... yeah, Anna was chased off of Twitter, and quite honestly, in certain cases I think the internet can be too cruel to marginalized people, going to great lengths to harass them for stuff that happened years ago that they've changed from, often justifying their own vile behavior under the pretense of holding them accountable, when in reality they're just cruel for the sake of being cruel and they can't take it out on their actual oppressors, so this is the result. That's why I often take accusations regarding a marginalized person with a grain of salt, but after going over the entire Anna Mardoll situation, I don't know. I can't really say that I feel particularly bad for him right now, like...
why am I still getting hate?
After all of that, after being clowned on, they still made a return to Twitter the 29th of October, tweeting the following: some bad news to share and then ask for help. 𝗃𝗄𝒧𝒏 needs invasive surgery. Insurance will cover some, but not all, and we're trying to raise the rest. Any help that folks can give would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. More details later. And 𝗃𝗄𝒧𝒏 isn't actually his cat, but rather what most of us would refer to as a partner. So yeah, let that sink in.
What? Oh. Okay.
Someone commented, "You're truly a shameless piece of shit. Use your massive salary from Lockheed Martin or the insurance, that policy you used as excuse for working there, instead of asking money from people who are infinitely poorer than your 400,000 USD worth house-owning self." Apparently he lives in a house worth 400,000 US dollars. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't exactly call that a struggling person. And Anna replied, "I shit you not." Anna replied with, "Sigh. I am a part-time employee paid hourly. I do not have a massive salary from anywhere. I do not own a home. I have a mortgage. You are misinformed." So the house is worth 400,000? Yeah, I feel like you'd correct that if that was, in fact, misinformation. Are you guys seeing this? Are you guys seeing this? This motherfucker lives in a home worth 400,000, begging from a community where a significant number suffers from poverty. 1 out of 5 trans people has been homeless at least once in their life. These are the people that you are begging for money? What about your job at Poor Country Murder Machine? What about your job at Imperialism Inc? What's the point of working there if you have to e-beg from disabled queer people online? Not to mention that you actually do own the house even if you have a mortgage. You were approved for a loan. You need a good credit score. It's absolutely not the same as paying rent, and I hate that he's trying to equate the two. Like, dude, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. But he's just counting on his following being too underprivileged to realize this, simply because they'll never own a home in their entire life, and instead are dependent on slimy landlords leeching off of them.
For you're misinformed. I'm just like you. I've actually got a mortgage. I'm not a homeowner. I'm almost homeless because I've got a mortgage.
Bro! And I really went,
"Hello, fellow poor people. I'm poor just like you. I have a mortgage. Would a non-poor person have a mortgage?"
They would? Well, me! And not to be that guy, but if I was gonna be complicit in imperialism and mass deaths, I would at least want better health insurance so I wouldn't have to go begging on Twitter. And even though I couldn't help but clown a bit on Anna, I don't want you to go and attack him. It's not productive. I'm talking about this because this is kind of a bigger problem. It's not a one-time thing, even though it happens on a smaller scale. Like, it's not, this is an extreme example, you know. This happens all the time. We prioritize vocabulary and theory over actions and their consequences. That's one thing that's been pissing me off lately. Like, you can't be an activist and ally because it makes you look good and then perpetuate racism and other isms. You can't eat your cake and have it because it makes you look good. Just stick to your f***ing guns, bitch! That being said, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about all of this performative internet activism? Obviously, there's benefits to it, but when you see this type of situation, you just lose all hope and start wondering if it's all just for show. And while you're still here, I've been thinking of starting a Discord server where maybe I could talk to more of you guys and get a better idea of what content you want. I don't know, get a new perspective of things I discuss, etc. But I'm also shy, and I'm afraid I might get too stressed out, feeling obligated to talk in the Discord. I'm also shy voice chatting with people unless I'm super close with them. I don't know, I'm just afraid that I'll just abandon it or something, or I might just info dump in general, leaving you fed up. It's a 50-50. Let me know your thoughts. Do you want that? Also, follow me on Twitter. You'll find my commission sheet in my pinned tweet. That's all. Have a good day. Be nice. Bye.